Today, we will talk about Casper and how it is connected into the traditional finance industry because of its involvement with the Actus standard, IBM Hyperledger, and even with the World Economic Forum, which also has ties into the UN after those two entities partnered up. But today we'll primarily concentrate on Actus and how it is heavily involved in the financial space. And here we have a quick overview of how Nucleus Finance is revolutionizing how financial contracts are.
We have a full stack solution, which has risk management and financial analytics software, a tokenization engine, and our layer one partner, Casper. Number two, we have a unique design around the tokens. We have an asset token, the counterparty token, which is liability token, and an NFT data token, which has info and value. And the last thing, which cannot be lost, is we have 35 years experience in this space from policymakers and academics and regulators.
This is an explanation of how Casper's ability to create upgradable smart contracts can have huge impacts in the traditional financial industry and for institutions.
And the beautiful thing is, we solve for some of the most difficult problems that you face today. You're going to call the regulator and say, listen, I'm not going to send you 60-day-old balance sheets in my reports anymore. And I don't pay any of the expensive consultants that you tell me to have in my bank to analyze my balance sheets to say whether I meet the regulations. I'm just going to give you an API that defines and tells you what kind of inventory I have on my balance sheet, how that inventory is in its current state, and how the future cash flows look like of that inventory. And then you can do your own risk management.
And as a side note, if I had to take one guess as to where that speaker is actually from, I would assume he's from Austria because he sounds a lot like Arnold Schwarzenegger. Here is the CEO of Nucleus Finance again, where he is explaining how huge Casper's contracts ability actually are.
My name is Sanjay Gosalia. I am the CEO of Nucleus Finance, and Nucleus Finance is focused on making financial contracts smarter. Well, I'll give you an example of where Nucleus Finance has been used. There is a large private Swiss company that has 5 billion in AUM assets under management, and they roughly have 220,000 contracts that support the leasing of vehicles. What they wanted to do, this private company, is to securitize these contracts. They also wanted to expand their products into EV vehicles and other climate tech, which means they wanted to secure investment from new types of investors. To do so, they needed a flexible solution embedded in for the core banking that allows them to design the contracts in a way that there's standard data definitions and cash flows that are understood through an algorithm. And those two things are foundational for, one, to be able to securitize, and two, to go out and provide price transparency, price discovery, and the reduced risk associated with reconciliation to investors. And so by embedding our solution, they were able to set up themselves for securitization and also secure new investors, because everything is standardized, algorithmically defined, transparent. The discovery of what the leasing products are at the portfolio, product, or contract and event level is well understood. And so they understand the underlying risk of the actual asset that they're investing in. And that's an example of where we help the $5 billion private company, one, securitize, two, expand their product mix, and three, reduce the cost of doing all of this by eliminating a lot of the reconciliation cost.
And now we will look a bit harder at what Actus actually is. Here on the Casper site, they call out that they are able to transform capital markets through on-chain implementation of new standards, and that's Actus. In our article here from January of 2019, it is all about Actus. And overall, it provides an open blockchain agnostic standard to create compatible digital assets across issuance platforms, which also has a ton of connections into ISO 222. And here is an excerpt from some video online, but it is directly calling out Nucleus Finance again, which is a joint venture between Casper and Arraign. And Arraign is a company that aims to build next generation banking solutions using smart contracts. The founder of Arraign is also the president of Nucleus Finance, and Ralph Kubel, a board member of the Casper Association and partner in the blockchain advisor for Rain, is also heavily involved in Nucleus Finance. Rain is a member of Actus, which works on standardizing financial data and has a Category A license with ISO TC 68, specifically for ISO 222. And ISO TC 68 is pretty much the controlling body of ISO 222. Rain is also on the registration management group and is listed as a registered company. Casper's applications are built to comply with the Actus standards and the ISO TC 68 standard for financial services, which is larger in scope than compliance with ISO 222 itself, which means that Casper's applications, such as Nucleus Finance, could be integrated within the framework of a financial system that runs on ISO 222. Casper is also trying to get heavy into DeFi in 2024, and a lot of that is pinned on the upcoming Condor update, which is about 4 months out. Here is the CEO of Casper explaining how after the Condor update, Casper will be the most suitable chain for DeFi, games, and software as a service companies.
It's something that's going to be taken very, very seriously. And obviously, post-Condor, it starts making a lot of sense. Like post-Condor, I actually think Casper could be one of the best places for DeFi, just because of how the gas mechanics are going to work and the fact that contracts can pay for themselves, etc. Like it could be the best place there. But, that's more an association topic. Here, what we're trying to do is, how do we innovate outside of what's happening just within the crypto community while, ensuring that it's still a legitimate blockchain product, right? It's still a legitimate blockchain product. It will consume gas. It will interact with the mainnet. But the way you interface with the company is have a partner like IBM that gives a lot of credibility and ensures that we're building this correctly, but also give them the opportunity to interact with it in a SaaS. And so we're really excited about that. It's real utility and it's innovative in the space, right? We're trying to figure out a way to make it like, how do enterprises buy Salesforce CRM? You can adapt that same model without losing any of the decentralization and all the mechanics that we're used to within blockchain.
Here on the Casper site, it explains that the Condor upgrade presents a significant advancement for Casper, aiming to more closely meet the evolving needs and expectations of any project on Casper, including DeFi application. The upgrade improves DeFi applications and features such as multi-signature capabilities for improved security and predictable gas fees for more transparent transaction planning. Now we will check out what Nucleus Finance has done and what they are working on by being able to point to NFT deployments on chain. So as far as Casper NFTs go, there are CEP78 NFTs, and they are the newer and upgradable version of the CEP47 NFT. Here he talks about an interesting thing in regards to Nucleus Finance, is that through their partnership with VM Data Service and Davos 2022, they partnered to bring tokenization as a service. And VM Data Service is the EU's largest LEI database and registry. As KYC and AML enforcements will only get stronger, it's good to see that Nucleus Finance has built with compliance in mind. And here a couple of examples in chronological order of what Nucleus Finance has been doing on Casper. As of January 21st, they had created 135 NFTs in the last 4 days, and an NFT for them is a gradable financial smart contract. 2 days after that, they had been creating multiple NFTs every day for the past 4 days. And they are smart financial contracts backed by Actus standards. Then on February 6th, they had 10 contract NFTs just in one day, and all of them happened to be in Indian rupees. And I can't say I am a particular proponent of the World Economic Forum itself. However, you can't ignore how significant it is to be chosen as a partner. And there are a couple of hints at Casper, the October 2023 report on the evolution of NFTs. And in this report, it talks about cross-platform integration and interoperability will be important. IBM and Casper had successfully demonstrated a swap across a private Hyperledger fabric to Casper's public network on IBM's Weaver, which falls under the framework of the SATP standard founded by Quant and MIT. Also talks about the tokenization of IPs into NFTs, and we now know that unfortunately IPwe has been having a lot of issues. However, I don't think that overall idea of tokenizing IP on Casper is dead, and that is primarily because IPwe was so interconnected into IBM, which has tons of ties into Casper. Overall, I am one who thinks that Casper still has a ton of potential, as we are pretty much at the bottom still.